Have you ever thought about how people in the world serve firefighters, police officers that keep us safe and make sure everything is good for us? People that deliver your mail, especially our parcels right now. Teachers, whether it's in the classroom or online, that help us to learn about the world. People that work in libraries and help us be educated and entertained. Doctors, nurses, people that are caring for our health. People that keep our world clean and sanitary and safe. Dentists, even if we don't like always visiting them, they keep our teeth healthy. And people that keep our cars healthy so that we can travel. Lots of people serve in the world. How did Jesus serve? It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in process, and Jesus knew that God had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean, and you are clean." When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than their master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." Hi there, thanks for joining me again this week. So, have you ever thought about all of the different ways that we serve each other in the world? All of the different people that make a difference in our society by serving others? People like doctors and nurses, people like dentists, people that collect garbage, policemen, firefighters, people that spend their work life helping others. And then there's people that work and then spend their time volunteering to help others. People that volunteer at hospitals to help out and to provide extra care for people. People that volunteer at places like churches, or volunteer at schools, or just volunteer and do good things in their community. What would happen if all of those people stopped doing those things, whether they do them as work or whether they do them as part of their volunteering time? Our world would look very different. So serving each other is really important. Sometimes we do it because it's something we love, like maybe police officers or firefighters. But sometimes we do it because we want to make a difference in the world. Jesus told his disciples long ago that one of the best things they could do to make a difference was to serve each other. And he told them this because he served them himself. He went out and in front of them, he took a towel and a basin and he sat down and he washed their feet. Now, I want you to think about something. Jesus was their teacher. So imagine if your teacher went into your classroom and took a towel and a basin and started to wash the feet of your classmates and your feet, what would you think? What would you say? How would you feel if your teacher suddenly started to do that for you? It'd be pretty crazy, wouldn't it? And yet that's exactly what Jesus did. He tried to teach his disciples by actively doing what he wanted them to do. So he sat them down and he washed their feet. And he helped them understand that by serving others, we help others. Now imagine how you'd feel if your teacher washed your feet. The disciples felt the same way. They were shocked. They were stunned. They didn't expect Jesus, who they respected and looked up to and thought about as the Son of God, to do that for them. But imagine how you would feel if somebody that important took the time to do that for you. Would you feel special? Would you feel a little confused? That would be normal. But what would you want to do afterwards? Do you want to do that same thing for someone else? Maybe not washing their feet, because feet are funny. Have you ever looked at feet? Feet are funny. And washing people's feet is a pretty personal thing to do. You might have ticklish feet, or you might be embarrassed because maybe you have smelly feet, or maybe your toenails need to be cut, or maybe you have something wrong with your toenails, or maybe your toenails just look funny, or your feet look funny. Feet are very personal things. And when Jesus washed his disciples' feet, he was saying to them, we have to do things that matter to people, matter for and to people. Because if he just washed their hands, that might not have had the same impact, because he made a personal difference in the disciples' lives. Now, I'm not suggesting you go around and offer to wash people's feet, but maybe when we look at the world, we can see things that aren't being done that we could do. So maybe you have a neighbor who's older and isn't able to rake their own grass or their leaves. And so you could do that. Maybe you have family members that need you to help out. And maybe your mom and dad are constantly asking you to help out. You really don't want to, but you could. You could do it without them having to ask you. And then they would realize that and feel like you had taken the time to care for them. It would make a difference in their lives. It would be something really personal because they wouldn't have to ask you. They wouldn't have to worry about it. The same as raking the leaves or the grass for the neighbor. It's probably something that they worry about having to get done. And if you were able to help them do it, then they wouldn't have to. There are all sorts of people in the world around us that are anxious or worrying about things. Sometimes service is simply noticing and doing something to make them feel less anxious or less sad or less frustrated. Right now, we are all frustrated and tired because of COVID and school being at home and not being able to go where we want to go. Knowing that everyone is tired and stressed, maybe one thing we can do to serve each other is simply just be kind to each other right now. If someone gets angry with you, take a really deep breath and remember that they're tired and they're stressed the same as you are, so that when you answer back, the tired and stressed part of you isn't the one responding. I know that my tired and stressed part has been responding a lot lately, and I have to take a deep breath and say, okay, it's not the reality that I want. It's not the way things are supposed to go. Not that everything ever goes the way it's supposed to go, but this isn't how I really feel about things. And it's probably not how the other person really feels about things either. It's just we're all really tired. And so serving each other right now is simply doing our best to remember that we're all waiting to be able to do things that we want to do, and we're all really tired. And giving each other patience and kindness and understanding right now. That's one way of serving each other. I'm willing to bet that if you stopped and put your thinking cap on, you could come up with all sorts of ways that you could serve the people around you and the world. So remember that this is something that Jesus asks us to do. Be inspired by other people that serve and make a difference, whether it's their work or whether they volunteer, and think about the ways that you can serve in the world around you. I hope you have a great week. Bye.